All right, so starting today's yoga practice, we're going to come all the way back down onto our yoga mat and we will begin in Shavasana. So let's all come down to the floor. We'll lay flat down on our mat, and with some relaxation, we will start our class. Take your time coming down to the ground. And I want us to start in Shavasana, which is with our arms and legs just slightly spread out away from the body. Relax through the shoulders and the neck. Noticing if we're feeling twisted or tilted or one-sided. See if we can find neutral with our nose pointing straight up to the ceiling, our neck long. Give yourself permission to close your eyes. Take a few big breaths. Let your belly rise and fall as we breathe slowly. Allowing our body to relax. Allowing our mind to calm down. Set those thoughts and to-do lists and worries aside for just the time being. They'll be there when we finish our practice if they're important. Right now, all we want to focus on is what we're doing right now, right here on our mat. I know that can be difficult. If you notice your brain wandering, your thoughts drifting, that's okay. Just start thinking about your breathing again. I want you to notice your inhale and notice your exhale. And with our next big breath in, let's reach those arms long up over the head. Nice big stretch. And we'll release those arms down. Let's gather our knees into our chest. Give ourselves a nice big hug. And we can rock right to left, side to side. Notice how this feels on our hips or on our back. And then let's wiggle through the toes and roll through our ankles. Start to wake everything up. Let's come into our single leg stretches. We'll keep a hold of our right knee, lowering that left leg all the way down to the ground. We can open the right knee out towards that right shoulder. Bring the knee over towards the left shoulder. Coming into the middle and lower the leg all the way down. That felt really good. Let's see if we can do the other side. We'll bring the left knee, open the knee out towards the left shoulder. And then over towards the right. Coming through the middle and lower down. Now taking our time, let's bring our feet flat onto the ground, arms down by our sides, go through some glute bridges. Inhale, lift the hips up towards the ceiling, and then exhale, slowly lower down. I want this to be controlled. Inhale, lifting up, keep our hands and our feet flat on the floor. Exhale, slowly lower. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, lower down. And we'll do one more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Now from here, let's just take our feet, step them out a little bit farther. They can be a little bit wider on our mats. Arms come out to the side. Go through some little windshield wipers, right to left with those legs. Little wipers back and forth. Right now, slowly, I want us to roll all the way over onto our sides, pressing ourselves up into a seated position. And in our seated position, we're going to come into butterfly. So we'll bring our soles of feet together, hold onto our ankles, sit up so tall, roll those shoulders down. And now as we hold butterfly, I want you to try to press your knees into the floor. Keeping our back straight, let's start to hinge forward. Try to keep your back straight. Now you can keep your elbows tucked in. I like to use them just to press against the knees a little bit. And then from here, we can tuck the chin into the chest. See if you can get a little bit of a neck stretch out of it. And now let's round our back as we bring our nose towards our toes. See if you can feel anything else. Good, now slowly roll up, coming up all the way nice and straight. Let's bring those knees in and straighten our legs out. So now we've got our legs forward, sitting tall in staff pose. We'll take a single leg forward fold, bringing our right foot into the inside of your left leg. So now we've got our right knee in butterfly, the left leg still forward. Both hands on the floor in front of or on either side of our left leg. Let's go for a walk in this single leg forward fold. Keeping our bum on the ground, our back as flat as possible. And as soon as you feel a stretch, we're just going to stay here and hold it. Noticing that we want our nose and the center of our chest facing our center of leg. So we're trying to keep very still. Slow deep breath. Keep that right knee pressing down and towards the floor. And then we'll slowly roll that up. Let's bring the right knee in and help the leg down. We'll take that left foot into the inside of the leg now. So now our left knee is bent in butterfly. That right leg stays forward. Hands on either side. Nice flat back as we slowly walk. That might be a short walk, might be a long walk. That's okay. We're just exploring. We're investigating. And then you hold the stretch wherever you feel it. Maybe we feel it behind the knee. Maybe we feel it in our hip. If I'm being honest, I feel it mostly in my back. So listen to what our body is telling us today. See where we need a little bit extra love and attention. All right, now let's slowly roll ourselves up. Bring that knee in and we can lower that down. I'm just gonna take my socks off. I don't know if anyone else still has socks on, but now's a good time to take them off if you do. We're going to flip over into tabletop position. So on all fours, hands and knees, let's just double check that our fingers are spread out. Our knees are right underneath our hips. We'll start with some cats and cows. Inhale, look forward, open your eyes. And then exhale, tuck the tailbone, tuck the chin around the back. Inhale, open. This is cow. Exhale, round, draw the belly in for cat. Inhale, open, really long neck. Exhale, round, tuck your tailbone under. We'll do one more of each. Inhale, open. Exhale, round. Let's come up as high as we can. And then press back into child's pose. Sink back in those hips. Reach forward long with the arms and then relax your head. Slowly breathing. We can come up into tabletop. Preparing for our thread the needle. So making sure that we're happy on our hands and knees. We have good balance. Let's take that right arm up, big inhale. Exhale, sweep it underneath, laying into that right ear or shoulder or down as much as you can. That left arm can reach forward or up to the ceiling, whichever feels better today. It might not be the same or look the same as the last time you did this pose, and that's okay. Remember, each time we practice yoga, it might feel a little bit differently. So allow yourself to really listen to your body. All right, we'll bring our hands onto the floor again, coming into tabletop. Make sure we have good balance, and we'll do that on the other side. Taking that left arm up, nice big reach. And sweep underneath, laying into your shoulder. You can reach your right arm forward or up. And it might not even be the same, not only from day to day or practice to practice, but from left to right. Maybe you need to treat this side a little bit differently, and that's okay too. We'll release the arms, taking them back up into tabletop position. And now get ready for our runner's lunge. Stepping your right foot forward, knee above ankle. If you're able to lift your hands up off the ground, we'll bring them onto that thigh, lifting up really tall. So shoulders down, belly's in. Think of that zipper coming up super tall. And then move the whole hips forward as we bend into that right knee a little bit more, making sure that we can wiggle our toes, that our belly's pulling in, we're lifting really tall. And then arms come up if that's an option as well. Now, as we're holding our runner's lunge, I want us just to notice how our balance is today. Are we wobbling all over the place, or are we able to hold it? And if you're wobbly, that's okay. You might just need to change your hand position. Now from here, we're going to transition into lizard. So we'll bring both of our hands down to the floor on the inside of that leg. Now we've got our hands to the inside. You can heel toe that right leg out just a little bit if you need to. Now you can stay on your hands, or you can come all the way down onto your elbows. The one thing I want you to pay attention to is keeping knee stacked on top of ankle. Let's see if we can keep that straight line up and down. You might need to turn that front foot out a little bit. We'll be feeling this a lot through that inner thigh. Now slowly, if your hands are not on the ground, if your elbows were there, we're all going to bring our hands to the ground. And I want you to bring that right leg back, and we'll sit into child's pose. So go ahead and relax back into child's pose for a couple of breaths. And now coming forward into tabletop again. We'll step our left foot up in between our hands. If you're able to lift your hands up, we can bring them onto the thigh. Shift our weight forward, but pick the belly up, roll the shoulders down, and then we can reach the arms tall. Notice when you reach your arms tall, are you bringing your shoulders up, or can we bring those shoulders back down, keeping those nice long necks? Go ahead, take a couple of breaths. And if you're finding this, boring, or you're just not able to focus, try closing your eyes. See if you're able to work on some more balance without your vision. Now we'll get ready for lizard. So we'll take our hands to the inside of that left leg. You can heel toe that left leg out a little bit so you can get the knee stacked right on top of ankle. Good, so with your knee right on top of ankle, maybe you stay up on your hands. Maybe you need to come lower onto your elbows. Notice how that feels this time on the inside of your left leg. Remember your slow breaths to keep your body relaxed and calm. And we'll slowly come back up onto our hands if you aren't already. Sweeping that left leg back behind you, and then pushing back into child's pose again. Now coming up into tabletop, we're going to this time come into a modified frog position. So we'll step our right foot out to the side with your foot flat on the floor, keeping your toe pointing forward if you're able to. From here, I want you to curl your back toes underneath of you and start to sit backwards into your hips. Now, some of us will keep our bum away from your feet. Some are going to have your bum come all the way down to the floor. Some of us are going to come down onto our elbows. Some of us will stay up on our hands. And the last kind of difference that we may have is I like keeping my foot flat on the floor to stretch through the inside of my hip. Some of us prefer to turn the toe up to the ceiling. So I want you to play with that. See what position feels best for you today. And this is a half frog or a adductor stretch. Now slowly come back up. Take your time into tabletop. Maybe wag your tail a little bit. Switch that back and forth. And we'll do the other side. So we'll set that left foot out. Nice straight leg. And then we can start to, again, curl the right toes underneath of us and push back into our hips. Now, this might be enough on your hands, or maybe you need to come down onto your elbows. You might need to take that left toe and turn the toe up, or you might want to keep it down on the ground. So just playing with that. It's okay to play a little bit in yoga. See what feels better. Slow, deep breathing. All right, now slowly coming back up from that. You can wag your tail again if you'd like to, and then push back into child's pose. Now in child's pose, let's prepare our hands for down dog. So spread those fingers out, really push against the floor. You can curl your toes underneath of you. We'll lift our hips up nice and high and come up into our downward facing dog pose. Now feel free to move through this pose. I love walking the dog, especially the first time we come into down dog. Moving toe to heel, right to left foot, really pedaling those feet. Good. Try to lift the tailbone really nice and high up to the sky. Press the chest back between your shoulders. Now let's come all the way forward onto our hands and our toes or our knees in plank position. We'll hold this for just a moment. Coming into chaturanga. This is our slow controlled lower. We'll slowly lower the body all the way to the mat and then press ourselves up into cobra stretch. Tall through the crown of the head. Pull those shoulders down, lift through the hips. Relay onto the stomach, so slowly lower. Good. And now from here, let's reach our arms straight out in front of us, just like Superman. We're coming into our next thread the needle, this one being knot, like tying your shoelaces into a knot. So what we'll start with is taking our right arm, thread it underneath that left side, with your palm raised up to the ceiling so that you could catch raindrops falling from the sky. We'll look over to that hand, holding our half knot. Notice how this feels, if it's comfortable or not. And then we'll take that left arm also across, pulling the laces tighter, creating that knot. See if you can keep them straight, again with your palms open to collect raindrops. And some of us will be able to drop the head to rest it on the floor. Others, their shoulders or arms will get in the way. But let's see how much we can stretch through these shoulders and backs right now. All right, let's slowly release out of that, laying in Superman for a moment. Relax the face, relax the shoulders. And we'll get ready to tie our knot the other side. So bring the left arm underneath the right. Again, palm up to the ceiling, and then just try to lay down and relax into it. And if we'd like to tie a full knot, we bring the right arm across as well. Pull the laces tighter, tie the knot, and relax the head. Slowly releasing our hands, taking them underneath the chest or ribs, and pressing ourselves up for another cobra stretch. Nice and long, beautiful cobra. Very good, and slowly release again. We'll take our arms out to the side, preparing for our next shoulder stretch. This will be our scorpion. We'll take our right hand underneath the right shoulder, bend your right knee or both knees, and then we roll over that left arm. Maybe we have both feet on the floor. Maybe we only have the right foot on the floor. The other leg stays straight. Some of us will want to take that right arm up to the ceiling or even try to hold your left hand. I think for me today, I'm keeping it a little bit smaller. And we'll roll onto our stomach, bringing those arms out to the side. We can take the left hand under left shoulder, bending the left knee, roll over that right side. Again, maybe you have both feet on the floor, knees pointing up to the ceiling, or maybe just that left foot. Slowly rolling onto the stomach. And again, we'll come up into cobra stretch, feeling a little bit longer, a little bit taller every time we lift up, just a little bit. Now coming onto our stomach, we're going to come into our very last exercise or stretch on the stomach with our arms down by our sides, getting ready for bow. So just like we tied a knot, we're going to tie our bow tie. So we'll take a hold of both ankles if you're able to. You might have to grab onto your socks if you still have them on, or your pant leg, or just reach for what you can grab. Maybe even just do one leg at a time. From here, try to keep your knees fairly close together. Pull your belly buttons in, really squeeze your abs. Now start to lift your chest, and holding onto those feet, let's flex your heel up to the ceiling and try to kick the ceiling with your feet. Keeping your knees reaching towards one another. Chest is lifted, eyes are looking up slightly. We'll feel a really nice stretch through those thigh muscles, your hips, and through your chest and shoulders. I know we're laying on our stomachs, not very comfortable. So we'll hold it for just 2 more big breaths. Feel like you can get a bit higher, a bit longer. And relax. Very nice. Now from here, let's slowly press back into child's pose. You might feel as if there's something extra going on in your back. We just got a little bit longer, a little bit taller. We separated those discs in our back just a little bit more. So we want to take this opportunity just to notice that feeling and to stretch it out. And we'll get ready for another downward facing dog. So coming up into down dog, we'll curl the toes, lift the hips, press away from those hands. Again, you can move through your hips if you'd like, or you can try to just get those heels down nice and close to the floor. Your chest back between shoulders, making a nice triangle position. So if you were to trace the triangle from hands to feet, from feet to hips, from hips back to your hands. Nice triangle. And we'll get ready for our pigeon pose. Taking that right leg up nice and high to 3-legged dog. As we draw the knee into the chest through plank, we bring the foot to the left hand, the knee to the right hand. And as we press that left leg back, we might want to look over the left shoulder. Make sure that the leg is actually straight behind us. I like to line it up with the long edge of my mat. And then this right leg is shorter and it's trying to line up with the short edge of the mat. Trying. It doesn't have to be perfect. Now from here, resting on our hands and knees, making sure we haven't fallen over onto that right hip. Let's see if we can come down maybe onto our elbows, maybe even laying onto our fists. And then the next option is if anyone would rather do king pigeon today, instead of laying in pigeon, you can take your hands up on the ground. You have to lift up really nice and tall. Start bending that back leg, the left leg. Same arm, left hand reaches for that foot. And then if you're able to, you might even want to lift that right arm up to the ceiling. This is an extra benefit if you want to stretch through the front of your left thigh. So it's a nice thigh stretch there. All right, so wherever we decided to hold pigeon, let's all slowly start to come out of it. You can come back into down dog or child's pose if you prefer. Couple big breaths. We'll do the other side, taking that left leg all the way up, 3-legged dog. As we come through plank, draw the knee into the chest. Foot to the right hand, knee to the left hand. Press that right leg all the way back. See what I mean about lining the leg up with the long edge of the mat? That way we know where our leg is. Nice balance here. We can rest down on our hands, our elbows. Our head can come all the way down if that feels more comfortable. Or if you'd like king pigeon, you'll lift up nice and high, belly is tight, holding onto that back right leg. Nice shoulder stretch here too. And if you'd like, you can bring that left hand up. This is your king pigeon. All right, we can all slowly start to come out of pigeon, back into down dog or child's pose again. Now at this point, we're going to walk our hands and feet together and hang in forward fold. So go ahead and just hang over those legs, whether your hands are on the ground, holding onto either elbow, or holding onto your legs in any way. Trying to keep your knees just a little bit soft and your head, let it hang heavy. Now we're going to come into a ball. This is a type of squat. So you can take your hands down to the floor. Start to sit down through your hips. You want your feet to stay flat on the ground, but you can start to sit down through your hips. It helps to reach your arms forward at this point, lifting up really nice and tall. Keeping your feet flat on the ground. I know this can be tricky. See how low you can come. It's not an easy squat to hold. And then we're going to transfer into our one handstand of the day. This is going to be crow pose. So we'll bring our hands down on the floor in front of us. Spread those fingers out about as wide as your shoulders. Start to move forward into your hands, onto your tippy toes. Now with your elbows kind of out to the side, so it's a nice push-up position, you'll start to bring your knees to the outside of your arms. And I want you just to kind of rock a little bit in that and see how that feels to put pressure on your arms. And now with a little bit of pressure on your arms, you're coming up onto your tippy toes. We're gonna lift our hips up nice and high. Now try not to jump and try not to look down at your feet. Let's see if we can look forward a little bit. And then when you're ready, you'll start to lift one foot and then maybe 2 feet up. I'm wearing a slippery sweater. That's okay. We'll see if we can lift those feet up today, even on slippery sweaters. And you can keep playing with it. And then when you're done, we just slowly come down into that ball pose again. Good, and then slowly come back onto your hips and we can reach those feet forward. And just shake it out. Fun coming into different handstands, isn't it? So as we sit forward with the legs, I want us to come into a couple of different stretches. The first one is going to be butterfly. So I know we did it at the beginning of class. So we'll do this again. Maybe if we can get our legs perhaps a little bit closer to the body, maybe the knees a little bit lower, or maybe even our body coming a bit lower. So with our hands holding our ankles, sit up so tall, hinge forward from your hips. See if we can press our elbows down against our knees, only if you want to. And then last but not least, see if we can get our nose towards our toes. All right, now slowly roll up from butterfly. Take your feet and just bring them up slightly forward. So we've got a little bit more space between body and feet. Coming into turtle pose. We bring our hands into the basket, so right in the middle. Thread them underneath your legs so that your elbows and your hands are resting on the floor. And now see if you can get your nose to your toes. Holding turtle. You'll feel a really nice stretch on the outside of your hips and the inside of your hips. Now slowly roll up from there. Take your time. Maybe bring those legs in and give yourself a little bit of hug. Maybe rock them side to side. Let's take those legs out again and we'll bring them out into a straddle split. You may have to help yourself get in there. Just making sure that your legs are straight with your toes pointing up to the ceiling. So keep your heels on the floor. Your knees can be a little bit bent if you want them to be. We're going to come into what's called revolve head to big toe. just a side bend in a straddle split. We sit up super tall with our hands resting against the inside of your leg. Let's reach over to the right foot, lifting that left arm high up to the ceiling. Now make sure that this left hip stays down on the floor and this left shoulder stays open to the ceiling. If that bugs anybody's shoulders today, you can take your hand to your hip instead.
Feel my rhythm.
All right, let's slowly lift up. Then we'll do the other side. Reach over to your left foot, taking that right arm up nice and high. Again, we want to keep this hip down and this shoulder open. Beautiful. All right, let's slowly lift that up. Taking the hands to the center, keep your heels on the ground, toes to the ceiling. Let's go for that last walk. So we walk as far forward as we can, and then you can nest down as low as you're able to or comfortable with. Now slowly walking back in. Take your legs and shake them out just a little bit. So we've got our canvas in front of us nice and clear. We're coming into a Turkish twist. So I want you to start by bringing that right foot in, but turn your body so that your knee is pointing straight to the front. So if you were still facing the short edge of your mat, just have it pointing right at the middle. Now take this left foot and see if you can bring it across. So now you've got this foot still on the ground, but now your left knee is pointing up to the ceiling. Now take your left bum. If you're like me, your hip just came off the ground. Let's see if we can sit onto the ground again. And this might be really hard for some people. You might have to straighten out that right leg in order to do that. That's okay. You can straighten that right leg out. Otherwise, you've still got that right knee bent. Now we've got that left knee pointing up to the ceiling. You might even want to turn this into more of a cow face pose with our knee on top of knee, trying to get your imaginary shoelaces on the ground. This is an intense stretch for the hip. So now that we've chosen how we're going to hold our legs, I want you to sit up so tall, as if you're wearing a crown on your head. Start to twist over your left shoulder. Now, if this feels okay and you feel like you could do a little bit more, I want you to try to straighten that right arm out. Really puff your chest and look over that left shoulder. And if you still think you want just a little bit more, I want you to take both hands into heart center, press the right elbow into that left thigh, and really twist as you bend a little bit, looking over that left shoulder. All right, now from Turkish twist, come through the middle. Oh my goodness, my hips. Help your legs separate. Maybe give yourself a few windshield wipers. And we'll do the other side. Let's keep our canvas clear. Floor in front of us. We'll take our left leg, bend it, kind of like butterfly, but now we're pointing our knee straight to the front. We'll take our right foot across the knee. All right, and see if you can sit your bum down to the ground, keeping your knee up to the ceiling. If that's not possible, that's when you know that you should straighten that left leg out. So this is how you'll hold it. Otherwise, you've got that knee bent. If you can do more on this leg, you can stack knee on top of knee. This would be a cow face pose with your feet trying to go flat on the floor. Still both sides of the bum down on the ground. We've got our leg. You've chosen which one you want to do. So now we'll start to twist, looking over your right shoulder. So your left elbow is just kind of touching that left knee. If you're able to do more, you're going to start to really straighten it out. And if you think you can go just that next step, you don't have to, but if you want to, hands to heart center, press that elbow, open your chest, try to keep your hands at the center of your chest, and bend forward. Holding our Turkish twist for just a couple of breaths. It's an intense stretch on that right hip. And slowly release. Help your legs untwist. Oh my goodness, I feel like we've tied ourselves into 1,000 knots today. Maybe shake those legs out. We just keep tying different knots in our body, don't we? From here, we are going to just sit comfortably, whether that's legs staying out straight like this. Comfortable for me is some version of lotus or crisscross. because we'll come into some neck stretches. So sitting up so tall. I know we've talked about our neck in class today, so that'll let's specifically stretch the neck. Taking that right ear down towards the right shoulder, and then we can press that left arm away. Now you might need to play with this a little bit, maybe tucking your chin or reaching your shoulder a little bit longer. Okay, slowly coming through the middle. We'll do the other side, taking that left ear down. If it feels good, you can push that right hand away. Coming through the middle, go ahead and just take a few shoulder rolls. Rolling in both directions. Okay, and now let's come all the way down onto our mat. We're going to lay in Shavasana, coming into one last stretch before we relax. So getting ourselves all the way down onto our mat, laying flat back, bring those arms out to the side, just like scorpion, with our arms out in that T position. And we'll take our spinal twist, lifting our right knee up, lower over to the left, and we can look over that right arm. Lifting the knee up and lower down. We'll bring that left knee up, lower over to the right, and look over that left arm. Bringing the leg up and lowering down. Now, just fidgeting yourself into a relaxed pose so that we can stay here. So if you need to get any fidgets or any stretches, go ahead and do that so that you can come into this relaxed position, Shavasana pose. Our legs are a little bit wide, toes are falling out. Our arms are just down by our sides. Relaxing through the neck and the shoulders. Our nose is pointing straight up to the ceiling. I want our eyes closed if we're comfortable with that. Trying to breathe in and out through your nose. Unclenching your jaw, relax your mouth. Notice if you're really scrunching your eyes or furrowing your eyebrows. Try to soften those eyes. Thinking next about our breathing. I want you to really pay attention to how your inhale feels, breathing in through your nose, letting your stomach rise, and then breathing out through your nose, letting your stomach fall. Not rushing anything, enjoying these couple of moments of being relaxed. Slowly, we're going to start wiggling through those fingers and toes. You might notice your body feeling colder as we've stopped our movement and we've really slowed our breathing. Let's work through those wrists and ankles, little circles, and then gather those legs gently into the chest again for one more big hug. As you squeeze your legs into your chest, thanking yourself for taking part in yoga today, for taking care of your muscles, your body, for letting your brain get cleaned up, right? Those slow, deep breaths and focused thinking, that really helps with our clarity, helps clear our thoughts, find some perspective, or be able to think more clearly, however you need to think about that. And I want us to roll over onto our side slowly into baby pose. And take your time sitting all the way up into lotus or easy seated pose. We did a lot with our bodies today. Make sure you're having some water after class. We'll sit up so tall and finish our class with our final goodbye. Ready? Bring your arms up above head to prayer, coming down through heart center. Namaste. Thank you so much, everyone, and happy Family Day weekend.